Hi, and welcome back to Pages and Projects with Liz. Today I have my April TBR. I've been enjoying doing TBRs, so again, I'm going to continue doing this until it's something that doesn't interest me anymore. And this month, once again, I've got a selection of books that will help me make progress towards my different yearly reading goals and just some things that I think would be really fun to go ahead and read. So let's get started with the books that I've selected for the month of April. First up, I have two books that I'm going to read for nonfiction this month. First is a little bit of a change of pace. I have Bonkers by Jennifer Saunders. So I have, counting this, I think 3 memoirs left on my TBR that I've owned for quite a while, and I'd like to get through them. I don't like to read them too many usually in a row just because I often get burned out, but again, really want to get caught up, maybe take a break since it's not my favorite type of book to always read. But the 3 that I have left are this one and then 2 from the same author. And they starred together in a lot of different things. So I think this will be fun. The other nice thing about this is that there's an audio version of it narrated by her. I don't like audiobooks of memoirs when they're narrated by someone else, but I do often find the memoirs a lot more interesting hearing it from the person who wrote it. There's just something about the way that they tell the different stories that makes it a lot more enjoyable. So this is one that I will likely try to get the audio version of. The other 2 had audio versions, but they were narrated by someone else, and that's just, again, not something I'm interested in. So excited to get through this, read a bit more about her from what I know about the shows that I had seen her on, and again, check off another nonfiction from my list. The other nonfiction book I have this month is another AI book. So again, have a stack of them. I'm trying to refresh some of my classes and pull in some different examples and kind of create like a little mini reading list of some interesting books. So this one is Co-Intelligence, Living and Working with AI by Ethan Mollick. I read a lot of things that he's posted elsewhere. I've read some portions of this, but I've not gone through and read the whole book, so I thought it would be good to go through and finally read it cover to cover. Next, I have another classic. So again, one of my goals is to read more classics. I either read them completely for the first time, or some of them I might have read ages ago and not fully remember the story. This is one that I don't believe I have ever read before, even a portion of it. And it is Vathek by William Beckford. So I have quite a few Gothic literature classics. This was one over in that area, so I am guessing it is an example from that. And I'm excited to read it. I don't know anything about this. I don't think I remember hearing anyone talk about it or come up in, again, any of my literature classes. So kind of interesting to read one that's completely new to me compared to some of the other classics where, again, I've either read portions of or I've read spin-offs or modern retellings that are supposed to be similar. And so I have a pretty good idea of the plot even before reading the full classic. This one is one that I will be going into blind, and I'm really excited about that. Next, I have Sinister Spring by Agatha Christie. So this is another short story collection. Again, trying to read each of these seasonal books in that season. So now that it is spring, I finally get to go through and pull this out. Like the lessons I learned from the midwinter one, I am going to spread this out throughout the month, so read at most 2 short stories in a row. And so it'll be kind of fun to go through and read those throughout the month. My next 2 books on my TBR are ones from book subscription boxes that I had previously received. So trying to go through and make some progress on those. The first one I have is Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan. It's been a while. This is a Fairy Loot edition. So really pretty sprayed edge and end papers. It's been long enough that I don't remember anything about this. This was the August 2024, so certainly been on my bookshelf for a while. So when I went through and was pulling off the different books to do my video going through all of the Backlist book subscription box picks that I still had, this one just caught my eye for the cover, and so excited to read it this month and see if I enjoy it. And the other one I have is Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. So again, really pretty book. This is another Fairy Loot. So again, end papers. This one is from May 2024. So another one that has been on my shelf for quite a while. This one might have been one of the first ones that I got. So I picked this because it seemed like it would be good for this time of year, with just the florals and everything. It felt spring to summer. So again, don't really remember much about this, but figured it was a good time to go through and try to read this one also. And then the last 2 books I have that I have pulled out and selected are ones from book subscription boxes this year. I definitely want to go through and read a Fairy Loot or Owl Crate one that I have, but looking through those, I didn't find one that completely jumped out at me. So I'm sure at some point this month I'll go through and again read one. But I want to be in the right mood for the one that I select. So the 2 books that I'm going to put on my list for this month are both from Book of the Month. Again, a little easier to go through those ones because I was able to select them. So I really want to go through and get to them as soon as possible. So the first one I have is Lady Tremaine by Rachel Hochhauser. I've seen a lot of reviews about this, people talking very highly about it. I do love, again, retellings of stories from different perspectives. So this one feels like it is going to be right up my alley. And I was really excited to select it, I think, last month. So finally going to go through and get to it this month. And the second one I have is You Did Nothing Wrong by C.J. Drews. This one also, I saw a lot of people raving about it who had had early access. It was mystery thriller. I wasn't sure about it from the description. I was kind of on the edge of whether or not it was something that I would like. Just because sometimes representation of one of the things in here is not written well and it tends to bother me. So we'll see. I selected it because, again, I had seen a lot of people talk very highly about it online. And so I'm hoping that it means that the different topics in it are covered well. So I guess we'll see once I go through and read it and do my April summary if I thought that was the case or not. And then the last book for my TBR is doing my spinner wheel to pick my next series that I want to continue to make progress on. Oh, and it is the Inheritance Games. All right, so this is one that I have on my Kindle, so I'll pop up a picture. I have not read any of these. This is one that sounded like it would be really interesting when I first read about it. I had seen like a couple of different movies that covered similar themes from what the blurb had said, and so I bought up the whole beginning of the series on Kindle and didn't get around to reading it. Since then, I've seen a lot of very mixed reviews, so I'm a little, I guess, anxious that I'm not going to enjoy it. But all the more reason for me to go through and at least read the first book. And so see, do I want to continue reading the series? Again, I've already paid for it, so it would be easy to binge read through. I think I own at least the 4 first books on my Kindle. Or if it's something that I don't want to continue with. But that will be my last book, is reading the first one from the Inheritance Games. So there you have it, the 9 books that I will be reading in the month of April. So these plus that Inheritance Games book. I saw that JD Ray Reads is doing 30 books in 30 days for the month of April. I would absolutely love to do that and push myself, probably add in some manga to help with being able to reach those goals. I just don't know at the same time if I can really commit to that. This is busy time of year, wrapping up end of semester and all of the grading of final projects. So I might unofficially try to do that and then officially try in another month if I can't make that work. So we'll see. I'm not super optimistic about being able to do that, but I do at least want to continue making some good progress with the books that I have and have been really enjoying reading. Sometimes I get into a little bit of a book slump, and that is something that happened last year. So the beginning of last year, I was only reading 2 or 3 books a month, and it wasn't until later into the year that I started picking up the pace again. I don't want to speed read through things and not enjoy it or really remember the plot. So my goal is not to read the most possible and kind of hate read a bunch of stuff, but I do find a lot of excitement, and it's been nice to get back into it and really enjoying and, immediately thinking about what's the next book that I want to pick up. I think setting up the TBRs has helped with that. So I sometimes get like decision fatigue, if I'm in a new place and trying to find a restaurant and just scrolling through all of the different restaurant options, I'll just freeze up. And so I think I was running into that a bit with books where I wouldn't quite know what I wanted to read next, would be looking at my TBR, see all of the books and get overwhelmed and decide to just start back again. Since I've been setting the TBR, I've been definitely reading other books, not just the ones that I've selected, but it's been nice that when I'm not sure what I want to read next, I can go to this pile and grab something. I've also been taking my time with some books more, so especially the nonfictions or like the short story collection, instead of feeling like I need to read it cover to cover before I start the next book. I've been alternating them within things, and that's not something that I'd done before. I mean, I guess I had alternated books and read a couple at the same time when, again, I was an undergrad. You need to do that for school. But typically, since, getting back into reading more, I've just read one book, finished it, and then started the other. And so, depending on the book, you get kind of burnt out a little bit and trying to slog through it. So, been, mixing it up a lot more. Again, since setting these TBRs. So, really glad that I decided to try that out this year. And certainly something that, again, I want to continue doing as long as it's beneficial to me. So there you have it again. The 9 books that I will be reading for April. Check back and see what my thoughts were at my end of month reading wrap up. If you've read any of these books, I'd love to know your thoughts, or what is a book that you are most excited about reading in the month of April. Leave that down below. It's always nice to find some other book recommendations from people that have similar tastes. So certainly excited to hear what you're planning on reading this next month. So thank you and bye for now.